Another thing that your resistance training program should include is a stability part, or what we call motor control. What Paul Chek says is you can't fire a cannon from a canoe. And I love that saying because people often just think about the resistance training program just lifting weights. And what we like to do is really give you the software in your brain in order for you to lift those heavy weights and to lift them properly. And just because you can lift something doesn't necessarily make it right. And you can see that with a lot of athletes, runners, surfers. A lot of people start getting frustrated because they're doing something, but they're not necessarily doing it right. And then after a while, that trauma, micro trauma starts to accumulate, and then they get injured and they can't understand why, because at one time they're doing it. Almost like a person getting frustrated that, they drove their car into the ground, but they couldn't understand why it broke, and they never changed the oil, they never got their tires changed, they never took care of their car. So with that analogy, stability is one of those things that we have to constantly maintain, and because of injury, because of stress, we start eroding some of those movement patterns. And so with your stability work, what we like to do is we like to first clean your tissue up so that you have optimal joint range of motion. Now that you have some new joint range of motion, we like to download some software with some clean movement patterns and help your brain and your body connect so that you can move with high quality and move with some stability so you can increase your force production. This is almost like a musician warming up, doing their scales to warm up for playing music. And if they don't do that, then often the music, the timing, the sound, everything goes off. So kind of consider your stability work as doing your scales. They're not fun, they're not sexy, they're boring, but everyone who comes in this gym has to do these exercises because they'll make them move better, feel better, and perform their best. What we encourage you to do is to practice these things and to hold each thing, but you never go to fatigue because we're trying to just download that software, and you've heard that term muscle memory. We want your brain, it's a very sticky, and your muscles are very sticky in the sense that they don't discriminate between good or bad movement. They just do what the brain tells it to do. They're pretty stupid. The muscles and the bones just they're slaves to the brain and the nervous system. So we want to train the nervous system, and the nervous system will dictate good movement, and then that'll help you increase your movement quality, increase your movement capacity, so that you can do the things that you love and also look good at that. And one of the things is that control and that stability rules the athletic world. The people who do move the best also have the greatest amount of stability. So what we would say is go ahead and practice this stuff. Practice, have some grit, and enjoy the process. And if you have any other questions, hit us up at mywellnessmechanics.com. Thank you. For all your stability drills, you want to have the same type of breathing that you did for your mobility drills. You want 360 degrees of expansion going through the rib cage. So you could do some of the 3-month-old supine breathing exercises before. Put your arms out in front of you at about 120 degrees. Palm the floor, pull the elbows in towards your chest, and push your chest away from the floor. So you almost want to feel like you're bear hugging the floor. Don't extend the neck, chin to the Adam's apple, and push your shoulder blades apart. Your butt should not be sticking out like a J-Lo butt. You really want to tuck the pelvis underneath you and make your spine as long as you can, and try to breathe through your flanks. The reason why we did the 3-month-old prone exercise is so that we could put your shoulder and your spine in the proper position when we're doing the bird dog position. When you're doing this exercise, try to keep a straight line going from your hand all the way down to your heel. You don't want your body to fall, your head or your shoulder to decentrate. Centrate the shoulder, push all the way through the shoulder blade, and reach out as far as you can. Be mindful of your hips. Don't let them drop down. Pull it up and make sure your pelvis stays level throughout all the exercise. You do that by tightening your core and staying stable. This exercise is basically an inverted bird dog, so you want to be aware of the same cues. Another main thing that you want to be aware of is your stomach. As you're bringing the arm and the leg out, do not let the stomach pop up. Move your body like a folding table, just hinging from the hips and the knee joint. Maintain a neutral spine. While you're doing this exercise, don't let your hips sag down or have your spine in a C shape. Push up through the floor and maintain a neutral spine and do your hip hinge. As you can see, there's a straight line running from my knee, hip, shoulder, through my head or my ear. This exercise is a progression from the 3-month-old prone. Have the same shoulder position, spine position, and head position while doing this exercise. There should be a straight line from your ear, through your shoulder, through your spine, and through your hip while you're doing this. Try not to let your head dip down and your shoulders decentrate. Push through the shoulder blades, maintain a neutral spine, gently tighten core, and breathe. Place your body in the same position that you were in for the bent knee side planks. Slowly lift the leg up and let it come down as smooth as possible. A common problem is that people's hip starts to roll out, so make sure your hip is pushed forward as you're doing this and slowly lift up. Don't let your hip roll backwards. You want to make sure there's a little mouse hole underneath your spine. That will ensure a neutral spine position. Don't let it roll back. Push it forward. You can even put your hand on your hip, on your glute, and you should feel it up in the upper glute area.